Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Kid. The Kid is a John Turteltaub directed film from 2000. It's 20 years old. Whoosh! It's an hour and 44 minutes long, and it stars Bruce Willis, as you can probably see right here. This is a year after Sixth Sense. Yeah, a year before this, he did The Sixth Sense with M. Night Shyamalan and Haley Joel Osment, and it was a crazy blockbuster surprise hit from a new director that nobody saw coming. It is the spiritual opposite of this film in every way. Where that one was foreboding and, well, maybe not foreboding, but it was very grim. Let's just say it's very spooky in other ways. This one is not. This is meant to be a comedy drama of sorts. It's more of comedy, but it's definitely Bruce Willis and a kid sharing a lot of screen time together. Let me see if I can break down what the point of this movie is. He is an image consult. He plays an image consultant in LA, and his job is to make everybody who is awful look good, or if they're in trouble, or they have some sort of problem, he comes along, tells them mean things, yells at them, and manipulates the media in a way to make them look, if not good, at least better than they appeared to be at first. He's completely miserable and awful and mean to everybody. He's Bruce Willis. I won't say anything else. But yeah, his only friend is Emily Mortimer, who plays Amy. She also works with him. She kind of has a thing for him, but also doesn't like him. She just sort of puts up with him. He has an assistant played by Lily Tomlin. Come on, that's an iconic comedic actress who takes a lot of his crap, but not a whole lot. She pushes back, but she takes a majority of his abuse because it's his assistant, and that's what you do in LA apparently. Anyway, he comes across a number of other people, and even on his flight home, he runs into Jean Smart, most recently from Watchmen, who played Laurie. Yeah. So she has a small part in this, but don't think when you see her one time on the plane that you've seen the last of her, because she'll be back. Not that I'm really spoiling anything. You don't really put an actress who's least well known just in for one tiny scene. Unless it's a Scream movie, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, yeah, so he's miserable for the most part. He doesn't have any real relationships. He is just work all the time, and nobody likes him. He doesn't like anybody. It's a fairly miserable life. And then suddenly he finds a kid has broken into his home and is just messing with his stuff. Eventually, after chasing him to an airport, of all places, he runs inside a diner where he saw the kid go in. And nobody seems to know that they didn't see a kid come in there at all. And he leaves the diner and he steps back out onto the tarmac, turns around, and the diner is gone. What's going on with that? So he heads home, and in time, of course, eventually comes across the kid again. And you should know from the trailer the point of this movie. It's him as a kid, as 8 years old. He's about to turn 40. Yeah, Bruce Willis. About to turn 40, and this kid's about to turn 8. And they find out that they're the same person that's one of the hard things when you have these kind of situations where you have to have the characters get past that wall of disbelief and go, this is a really strange, sometimes stupid, sometimes absolutely weird situation that should not exist and doesn't exist in any world except the movies. But yeah, I'm going to somehow accept this. And you have to have them work through it in the same way that the audience is working through it so that it's believable. Like yesterday with Freaky Friday, the way mom and daughter accepted their situation just instantly without freaking out, without trying to correct things and fix things, or at least worry that things were permanent, none of that came into play. And that was, the movie got on with what it was trying to say and do, and the lessons and story it was trying to tell, but it just wasn't believable. In this case, though, they don't believe it as soon as both sides. Neither of them believe that who they are, but they work through it, and it becomes apparent that there's no other possible reason. There's no other possibility that they could be anybody else. Why? That's never fully really explained. I mean, it is to a certain degree, but I'm not going to spoil anything for you because I actually did like the ending. To me, it's a controversial. I wouldn't say controversial, but it's a risky ending. Let's just say it's a happy ending. Of course, it's Disney, and you're gonna have any movie you have with kids in it. Usually, is gonna it's meant for a kid audience. This isn't really an adult drama, but it's the kind of thing that the family can all enjoy, no matter how old you are. It's not I'm not going to say this is the greatest movie in the world, and it's certainly not the kind of movie I'm going to go back and watch again and again. This isn't Teen Beach 2. Come on. You'll understand that if you look at one of my much older videos. This is, but it is, somehow it sticks the landing at the end, which is, I did not expect. I just expected a lot of pathos, a lot of people just hugging it out and coming to terms with who he is kind of situation, which, yes, is the point of this. It is the point of him coming to grips with his past and how he's become the man he is. And it's about the kid coming to grips with his future and what he does going forward to affect who he becomes. So, yes, it's the kind of thing that you want to, it should also make you reflect upon what your past and what you're doing about your future. It's fairly obvious what the point is, how they get through it, how they sort of discover it. They shortcut a few things here and there, but for the most part, they are really good together. Yes, they're thrown into situations where they have to yell at each other a lot and argue and struggle. And that's, again, it's funny, but it's part of how you come to grips with who you are, who you were, and who you might still become. And do they try to figure out a way to change things? This kid really hoped that he'd grow up and fly fighter jets and have an awesome dog and probably even have a girlfriend or a wife, especially by 40. What kind of loser doesn't have a wife at 40? Anyway, so yeah, it's they bust on each other. They definitely throw some shade at each other, and he really, even though has come to sort of to grips with the fact that this is him, he becomes even more judgmental when he finally does admit that this kid is him, fat and pretty much a wuss who gets beat up a lot, and he doesn't like who he was as a kid, and this is very apparent. And it becomes pretty apparent as the kid version of himself, Rusty, Russ and Rusty, that's how we tell them apart. Rusty, he doesn't want to become the loser he believes that Russ is. So, part of it comes down to re-examining his relationships with the people in his life. A little bit. I don't want to make it sound too clinical, but it's certainly not that. But they turn themselves to trying to figure out why his younger self is in the modern day of 2000 and not 1968, and how he came to be there. Because Rusty doesn't know, Russ doesn't know, neither of them have any clue as to how this came to pass. By the way, Rusty, played by Spencer Breslin. Is he? I think he's related to Abigail Breslin. I could be wrong. I don't know. Anyway, he kind of looks like her. I don't know. Anyway, the kid plays a great young Bruce Willis. So yeah, they match up probably a whole lot better than Bruce Willis matched up with what's his face in Looper. Yeah. What's his face? What is his face? It's literally the point of the movie because they try to make his face look like Bruce Willis. Anyway, yeah, I think, like I said, it's not the greatest film in the world, but it was really cute. I think it had a lot of interesting things to say, and it worked through the issues that these guys were facing pretty well. It makes you wonder what you would do if you'd run into your younger self at this point in your life, when you're 40. And there's little comedic bits between them, and they, the things you'd expect, when a kid wants to know what his future's like, when's the first time this happens, that happens, get a car, get a hickey, things like that. And they try to help him work through his ability to fight back. And yeah, it's a pretty decent little film, I should say. There's other people in this, by the way, that Chi McBride, or Chai, however you say it. Sorry, McBride. Yeah, there's different people that show up in here. Not a humongous cast, but I think it was well done. It's one of the things I need to note about this is probably its major claim to fame. It is the first instance of the term wambulance. Yeah, wambulance, call the wambulance. Bruce Willis uses this term early in the film when somebody is complaining about something. Call the wambulance, because they're whining about stuff. So yeah, that's the little trivia bit here. If anybody ever asks you where the term wambulance comes from, it's from the kid, and apparently was not used before the year 2000. If it was, please comment and tell us where it might have been found elsewhere and provide proof. But I did my own research, and yeah, turns out this is where it came from. Yeah. Time to pick tomorrow's episode. 437. I have a feeling that we've had this like multiple times. Go away. 437. No, we haven't. We've had 435, 436, but we have not had 437. This is a movie also. Might be a little bit of a classic. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, though. We're going to watch Pollyanna. Pollyanna. I can't remember if this is live action or animated. That's how little I know about it. I know the name. I don't know much about the film. I'm guessing there's a girl named Pollyanna in it. We'll find out tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you then.